So we know the story of Zacchaeus, not just because we heard it today, but this is an old story, one that comes easily to our minds. But let's review the basic points. He's a sinful man. He knows this about himself. This is not something he is ignorant about. He knows people hate him. He kind of hates himself. And we see this because when he hears that Jesus is coming, he doesn't go and stand in the front row, close to the Lord, eager to see him. He hangs out in the back. And when he realizes he can't see in the back, he climbs a tree. His goal is to be out of sight, out of mind, to be able to watch from a distance. And then the Lord comes, moves through the crowd, comes to the foot of the tree, looks up and says, "You, come down." I don't know, how tall does a sycamore tree get? I'm bad with trees. Do we think Zacchaeus is up 20 feet, or is he like 5, 6 feet up above the Lord's head? I don't know. Those of you who know what a sycamore tree looks like, you know. Jesus says, "Come down." And he doesn't just bring him down, stand in front of him and say, "So, why were you hiding?" He could, but he does not. He says, "Guess what, Zacchaeus? You are hosting me to lunch. Let's go. Lead on. Come on." And they go, and they sit down, and they eat. And then at the end of the meal, Zacchaeus stands up, and he says, "Lord, anything I have sinned in taking, if I have cheated anyone out of money, I'm going to give it back, and 4 times what I took. And I'm going to give half my goods to the poor, whatever I have left after I've made it right from what I stole." And Jesus says, "Glory be to God on high, for today you have been saved." Right? Now, a couple things about Zacchaeus. Sunday. We only read this gospel once in the course of the church year, and usually it comes right before we begin Great Lent. So when the priest sees Zacchaeus in the Evangelio, in the gospel, he says, "Uh-oh, Lent is coming." From one busy time of year to another, out of the frying pan and into the fire. And I know for all of you, the same. We just finished Christmas. We just finished with all the sweets from the holidays, and now Lent is coming. Okay. Sometimes time moves quickly. I would ask that we reflect on Zacchaeus today as a type for all of us. Because we too, we know our sins. We know our weakness. We know all the reasons that we cannot dare to draw close to the Lord. Every time we have the conversation about who should come for Holy Communion, I hear all the reasons. "Father, I didn't fast. Father, I stayed up too late. Father, I was out drinking. Father, I'm mad at my relatives. I'm mad at my mom. I'm mad at my kids. I'm mad at my spouse." We know all the reasons to stay away from the Lord. And sometimes the pews might as well be made out of sycamore, because they are a comfortable, distant place to sit and watch the Lord go by. But Easter is coming, and all the preparations that we do are drawing very close. And the voice of the Lord calling to Zacchaeus today to come out of the tree and enter into relationship with Him. This voice, this call is to us. To leave our comfort zone, to leave the place where no one can see us, no one's worried about us, no one's paying attention to us, where we can hide our own self-loathing, our own guilt, our own knowledge of our insufficiency behind the fact that no one's paying attention and everyone else is in the same boat. We are called today to leave this mind behind and understand that in a few short months we will stand here again and sing, "Come, receive the light from the never waning light, and glorify Christ who is risen from the dead." The Lord is coming to us. He calls us to come to meet Him, to receive Him into our home, to reflect on what it is that separates us from Him, to make restitution where we have wronged others, to reconcile with those against whom we have sinned, to give what is too much, what is excess in our lives to those who have need of it, and to follow Christ with urgent, joyful zeal. And every time that we come into the church, we should understand ourselves to be like Zacchaeus. We know our sins. We don't dare walk straight up to the front. But we'll find a tree to take our place in, to look, to reflect, to wonder, and to await the call that we know will come as the Lord calls us to commune with Him, to be united with Him, to leave behind the things that keep us from Him, and to enter into the joy of the Lord. With this in mind, let us stand. Let us leave our trees behind, and let us approach the Lord. Amen.